Alright, friends, welcome back to the From One Young Soul to Another series, talk through series. I don't want to say read through because we're not really reading through anything, but we're talking through the chapters, and today we're getting to chapter 4, Getting More from Less through Minimalism. So, minimalism, if you don't already know, is basically the lifestyle of living on less and living on what you need and basically keeping it at what you need and not just what you want. This world is full of wants, it's full of desires. Some of that is, you want a person in your life, a certain kind of person, but a lot of it is things. It's a car, it's a house, it's clothing, it's technology, and it is really dangerous, I think, for our world the way it's gotten with consumerism. And it's dangerous in a few ways. The main thing, which was the point I was trying to argue in the book, is financially. I mean, if you are constantly wanting things and you're never satisfied with your life and the things you have in your life, and you're always looking to these external things for pleasure, then you're going to be spending a lot of money when you could be saving that money and helping yourself down the line. And another way, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, is just constantly looking for that external pleasure. And again, it doesn't have to be through things you can buy. It could be through people, it could be through sex or something like that. But, or as I talked about earlier in the book with self-development, but looking for external pleasures constantly to kind of keep yourself happy, keep yourself even keel, it's not good for you, and it's eventually gonna come crashing down on you. But the first thing I want to talk about is the financial aspect of it. So I grew up in an interesting situation where my family wasn't like broke or anything, but we did kind of live paycheck to paycheck for a while. My mom had a bad car accident and wasn't able to work anymore, so my dad was doing a lot of the financial heavy lifting, and this, caused stress on our family at times. And we had these struggles while living in a pretty well off area. So basically, all of my friends had a lot of money. They went on vacations, they got nice things. So I kind of grew up, I don't know if it was a complex, but I really wanted to be successful and have money because of this. Because I saw what my family had and I saw what other people's families had. And obviously, I wanted what they had and not what we had. So when I got older, I wanted to be able to provide for myself and provide for my family what those other people had. So I got fixated on money and making a lot of money and having a lot of nice things. And really, it was more about security, I think. But it's hard not to fall in love with those nice, those nice toys, if you will. So, and that was one of the reasons why I got into the stock market back in 2017, was because I wanted to make money. And I had a job at the time, but I wanted to make more money, just keep building myself up financially, so I would eventually get to the point where I am rich and I don't have to worry about money anymore, and I don't have to worry about my kids going through what I went through. Not to say I went through something horrible, but just compared to the people around me, it wasn't ideal. So I didn't want my kids to, not be able to go on vacations and stuff like that. So really, as of last year, up until then, I was like that. And I think one of the best examples, which I use in the book, is a family vacation we went on in 2018. We went to Treasure Island, Florida, which is close to Tampa and St. Petersburg. And I had gone to Florida a couple years before that with my family when we went to Panama City Beach. And it was an awesome vacation. We had an awesome condo or whatever. The beach was great. It was just a great vacation. So my expectations were pretty high. I wanted it to be that. And Treasure Island just really wasn't that. It wasn't nearly as nice. we didn't have nearly as nice of a condo, and I just went into that mode where I wanted more. I was like, this is not what it was in the past. This is not what it should be. And I mean, I think we were there for like 5 days. I spent a good amount of time thinking like, I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna start working because I don't want this kind of vacation to ever happen again. So instead of spending the time with my family and my friend that we brought along and just enjoying that time with them and not really caring about the external circumstances, I was focused on those external circumstances. I should have been focusing on what was inside the room instead of the room we were inside. And it took me until last year to realize just how bad it was for me to be focusing on that stuff. And that's what really pushed me towards minimalism and not caring basically about stuff like that. And another motivation was, so as I discussed earlier in the book, I have not been able to get a job in my field since graduating from college last May. And, I've struggled with the idea of it just because it's just natural for you to graduate college and get a job. And I haven't been able to do that. And I want to, move up in the world financially and all that. But I think we focus on that part too much, moving up financially, instead of living to the means we have and just not spending so much, because I think a lot of people live up to the money they make instead of living down to their expenses basically. So again, I've always been a saver. I've been an investor for a few years. So keeping money hasn't been a problem for me. And once I realized, I don't really like to spend money anyway, and I don't want to work full time right now because I don't like my job. And I started focusing on living down to my expenses more than living up to the lifestyle I want to have. And that's basically what minimalism is. And a lot of the rhetoric on the internet about minimalism is kind of retiring early or just working less so you can have more time to just enjoy life. And so far, I published this book about 2 months ago now, about a month and a half. And it's been 2 or 2.5 months since I wrote this chapter. But I mean, it's even gotten more to the point where, I work 30 hours a week, and then the rest of my time I'm doing stuff I enjoy. And again, like I have benefits that not everyone has. I'm able to live with my parents. I don't have to pay rent. I still do pay pretty much every other bill, but I'm still able to save money and even though I'm only working 30 hours a week, and again, not paying rent, so that's a big part of it, but I'm still able to keep money every month. I'm not losing any money. I'm not gaining a ton, but I'm not losing any. And obviously, eventually, once I do get a better job and work more, I will be able to save more. And the idea of that is to not start living up to the money you're making. So if I start making 3 grand more a month or whatever, basically just looking at my expenses, maybe spending a little bit on top of that for fun, and then keeping the rest. Because the idea is down the line, you don't have to spend as much time working if you have all this money saved up from the years and years of being a minimalist. And that's not to say that you shouldn't spend money to enjoy life, because again, that's the part of minimalism and essentialism, which I also talk about in the book, which is just focusing on the essentials of life, the essentials of your life, especially, because everyone has different essentials. And they're kind of the same idea, but they have a little bit different emphasis. And essentialism is about focusing on what's really important to you. And a lot of life, we focus on what's not important to us, and that's what drags us down, both financially and with our well-being. So, kind of working with these two concepts, it's not about saving money for later well, it is about saving money for later, but it's not just about saving money for later. It's about focusing your time where you really want it, and you can still enjoy life without spending a bunch of money. But if you do need to spend money to do something you want that you think you'll enjoy, then go ahead. That's something you consider essential. So again, it works. It's not just about less, it's just about focusing on the right things. So there's a ton more out there about minimalism and essentialism. I kind of just touched on it and applied my story to those concepts and how I've been living through those concepts. And I'm going to continue to live through those concepts, and I'm sure I'll make more videos. But there are a ton of more discussion on this out there. So YouTubers, Matt Diavella, he talks about this kind of stuff all the time. His channel is basically about minimalism. So that's a great resource, and I mentioned him in the book. That's a great resource if you want to learn more and see the years and years of practice that he put in to build up his knowledge in the concept. And then Greg McKeown, who wrote Essentialism, that is a great book that I finished before writing this. That's another great place to look, and it's really more focused on career, but everyone has a job, so it's important to look at essentialism and define what's essential in your life, and it'll kind of change how you view your job and the stuff that you take in your job. Because again, like I said, I don't really like my job, the actual tasks I have to do, but I'm fine working there because I've defined what I find essential, and I've managed my expectations for the job. I've, defined what it is in my journey and the path that I want to be on. So, doing things like that, I think, will help you find more peace and happiness, and some of the stresses and just unnecessary worry that comes along with the consumer lifestyle. Those things start to fade away once you start applying minimalism to your life.